Erich Pica. Friends of the Earth President Erich Pica is a nationally recognized expert on energy subsidies. For more than a decade, he has worked to reform U.S. tax and budget policy to reduce pollution and spark a transition to clean energy. Prior to becoming Friends of the Earth President in 2009, Pica served as the organization's Director of Domestic Programs. In that role, he designed and launched many of Friends of the Earth's campaigns, including efforts to bring emerging technologies such as nanotechnology and synthetic biology under greater public and regulatory control, and to reform how the federal government manages and invests in our transportation system. Welcome.
Thank you. And I want to express my deep appreciation to the Platform Drafting Committee for inviting me to be here today to express some of Friends of the Earth's thoughts on the Democratic platform. For those who don't know Friends of the Earth, we're a national environmental advocacy organization. We have about 750,000 members and activists. We're also part of the world's largest international network of grassroots environmental organizations with member groups in 75 countries around the world. And our mission is to champion a healthy and just world. And I feel like I've been treated to friends and colleagues and family over the last day with Peggy, Rhea, Camilla, Josh, Mark, Anthony, and others whose testimony I'd like to associate myself with, because it's very refreshing to have a platform committee conversation that has such a robust amount of conversation. Since the drafting of the 2012 platform, which unfortunately contained the all-the-above energy plan, much has changed in the climate movement. A vast movement of grassroots leaders and activists are aggressively opposing the fossil fuel industry and pushing for renewable alternatives and against false solutions like nuclear power and biomass. This movement's success includes shutting down more than 150 coal plants, pressuring President Obama to stop the Keystone XL pipeline, mobilizing over 450,000 people at the People's Climate March in New York, fighting to keep fossil fuels in the ground by actively challenging leases and banning fracking and stopping fossil fuel export infrastructure, and forcing public institutions around the country to divest from fossil fuel companies. So it's underneath this context of the climate movement in the United States, I offer the following platform positions to facilitate alignment with the Democratic Party with these movements. One, the party platform needs a plan steeped in climate justice and justice for workers and communities in transition from the fossil fuel-based economy. People will be hurt, and we have to proactively deal with it. The platform must support the repeal of more than $150 billion in fossil fuel subsidies. It must end public financing of the fossil fuel exports and implement a carbon tax. And I specifically mention a carbon tax because cap and trade is an inferior policy, and we can get into that in Q&A. The platform must support a moratorium on all new federal leasing by keeping fossil fuels in the ground. This single step would take more than 450 billion tons of carbon out of play, and we need the moratorium on fracking. The platform must support significant agricultural reforms to embrace agroecological principles that sequester carbon, create healthier soils, healthier foods, and healthier habitats. And the platform must make clear that the Democratic Party will not take money from the fossil fuel industry, and that it supports the efforts of state attorney generals and potentially the Department of Justice to investigate Exxon and other companies for past and ongoing climate fraud. I offer the above recommendations and observations to merely point out the obvious. The realm of what is possible and necessary is changing at an accelerated pace. It's time for the Democratic Party to fully embrace bold solutions and pathways forward that are commensurate with the climate crisis we face. We are simply and unfortunately at a point where the instincts of political moderation are inconsistent with the atmospheric chemistry. Recognizing the climate crisis and offering less than what is necessary is a soft form of climate denialism. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Thank you very much.